We got another week of college football coming up, and I know it's really early, but I want to do a fun early edition of this. I'm taking a look at some Miami Dolphins 2026 draft targets at the quarterback position. I am Nick Roloff. This is Dolphins Today by Chat Sports. And the reason why this comes up and the reason why I think it was worthy of making a video about it in early or late September is the fact Miami is currently the 4th overall pick inside the NFL draft. There are 6 winless teams. Miami is one of them. Hopefully that changes on Monday night against the New York Jets, who currently hold the number 1 pick. But I just want to make this point here. And let's face it, if the Dolphins season progresses the way it looks like it may, and they struggle, they win 3, 4, 5 games, and they're picking inside the top 5, you're going to start thinking about life after Tua. Because Mike McDaniel will be fired, Chris Grier will be fired, and when you hire a new GM, you hire a new coach, that new duo that runs your football team is going to want to start being prepared for the future after Tua because they did not obviously pay him, they did not draft him, they did not work with him, so they're going to want their own quarterback. And if they are in the top 5, then it's likely going to be the selection they make because how often are you going to be in the top 5 with the chance to take one of the top 1, 2, or 3 quarterbacks in that specific draft class? And I'll ask you this. I think if they're picking top 5, they'll be taking a quarterback. But maybe there's a chance you think they go elsewhere with a Caleb Downs or an offensive lineman, or they end up turning the season around and not taking a quarterback in general. Get an early prediction in there for me. Will the Dolphins draft a quarterback in the first round? Type Y for yes or type N for no. Well, I wanted to go through my top 5 quarterback targets right now. Number 1 is LaNorris Sellers, the quarterback from South Carolina. Like if I was having to do the draft tomorrow, Sellers, if I had the number 1 pick, would be my pick. And there's a lot to be left for desire with Sellers, but there's a lot of good as well. So let's look at Sellers' background. He's actually the youngest quarterback out of the quarterbacks we're talking about today. He is the youngest one at 20.8 years of age when the draft comes around. Not very often do you see a quarterback get selected before they turn eligible to drink. He is 6'3", he's 240, he's got great size, he's a redshirt sophomore. He was a 3-star recruit in 2023. Fun story, he actually originally committed to Virginia, decommitted, then commits to Syracuse, decommits, and then ultimately lands with the Gamecocks in South Carolina, and boy, has it been a match made in heaven. Last year was his first year starting. Didn't really play in 2023 as a true freshman, redshirted, which is why he is a redshirt sophomore now. Started as a redshirt freshman last season, where the numbers were very up and down, but you see the dynamic ability he possesses. 25 total touchdowns to 7 interceptions, 674 rushing yards, QB rating when brought from the college level to the NFL level of 101.2. And this season, sure, it hasn't been the statistical outburst, oh my goodness, we're winning the Heisman like some people believed he could do this year if South Carolina had a good season, but he is certainly still showing me enough to where I would take him as the number 1 quarterback on September 26th, 2025. Like, to me, there is no quarterback in this draft that has more physical traits than Sellers. He's big, he's athletic, he has a cannon of an arm. He could do anything on the football field you ask of him. He can run a QB design power, a QB draw, a read option. He can run the RPO game. He can roll to his left and throw an absolute laser beam dart 25 yards down the field, and he could sit in the pocket and drop some dimes and throw the ball 65, 70 yards downfield. Like, is there a lot you need to work on in terms of mechanics, footwork, and accuracy, as well as decision-making? Absolutely. There's no question about that. But when I'm looking at a potential next franchise quarterback in Miami, I don't want to be mean to Tua here, but I'm almost looking for the opposite of Tua. I'm looking for a guy that is super traitsy, that if you coach him up and are able to get even like average to above average accuracy and mechanics, but he would be elite due to all of the extracurricular, out-of-structure things he can do. And there's no better quarterback that can do that than LaNorris Sellers. Number 2 on my QB targets right now and on my big board as of late September is Fernando Mendoza, the Indiana quarterback. I have become a massive fan of Mendoza as this collegiate season has progressed. A little bit of an older prospect in comparison to Sellers. He's 2 years older, 22.5 years of age, but he's got great size to him. 6'5", 225. He's a redshirt junior. He was also in that same recruiting class, or a year before, than Sellers, that 2022 class. 3-star recruit. Actually started at California. Played 2 seasons at Cal, 1 year as a starter, 1 year as kind of like a backup mop duty guy. And then this year he's transferred to Indiana, where he has absolutely taken off in the Big Ten, and he's been the best quarterback in college football. Like, he put up good numbers in his 2 seasons at California where he actually saw playing time. 4,700 yards through 2 years. Sure, he turned the ball over a little bit, but he displayed the ability to make plays with his legs as well. 212 rushing yards, 5 rushing touchdowns in 20 games. But you see the numbers on the right. I mean, the first 4 games at Indiana this year have been nothing short of spectacular. He has not thrown an interception. He has 16 total touchdowns. Yeah, that QB rating is correct. Remember, a perfect QB rating in the NFL is 158.3. So he's damn near been perfect through 4 games at Indiana. He has simply put been the best quarterback in the country through the first month of the collegiate football season. He currently is the Heisman favorite, plus 650. He just dominated last Saturday an Illinois team that may have been a little overrated, but was a top 10 team in the country. And yes, it was at home. He only had about 2 incompletions, threw 5 touchdowns. Mendoza's been unbelievable. Like, he is so comfortable in the pocket, but he can also make plays out of structure and with his legs. Are you going to run designed runs a lot like you would with Sellers? No. But when he drops back in the pocket, he's not going to be a stiff, immobile guy that when pressure gets to him, he just goes down. No, he can make people miss, extend plays, pick up 8, 12 yards. I think it's very similar to a Baker Mayfield type of athleticism, to where, yeah, he'll pick up a 15, 20-yard run from time to time. He'll make people miss in the open field, but it's not like what he's known for. I also love his throwing motion. When you watch him sling the rock, it's a quick, tight release. You get a lot of spin, a lot of RPM on it. Like, everything that I've watched about Mendoza just is a massive plus. And we'll continue to see him tested in the Big Ten, which is going to be a lot of fun. Just beat up on Illinois last week. And as we get further into Big Ten play, they're on the road in Iowa against a good defense this week. So I'm excited to watch Mendoza play a little bit against a good defense on the road. This is a good start in a litmus test to see how real this kid actually is. More coming up here, but this is why you subscribe, because we'll break down the latest news and live for Dolphins games, but we're also getting an early start on scouting quarterbacks that could potentially replace Tua. Nobody else is doing this. Hit that sub button, join the family. My number 3 quarterback right now is John Mateer, the Oklahoma QB. Now, this is a fascinating young man who has certainly risen the ranks of quarterback prospects like Fernando Mendoza through this part of the season, as Oklahoma has gone from, Coop, were they preseason ranked? They were preseason ranked, barely, and now they're a top 10 team in the country. This is a guy who will be 22 years of age, basically, when he gets drafted. A little bit smaller in comparison to the first 2 QB Sellers and Mendoza. He's 6'1", but he's stocky at 224. Also was a 3-star recruit in 2022, like Mendoza. Originally went to Washington State and is a redshirt junior. We'll have a full little bit breakdown of his stats and my scouting profile coming up in here in a second. But get started with Omaha Steaks, the sponsor on today's show. Are you on the lookout for convenient weeknight meals? Well, I love cooking, but it's very difficult at times with the craziness that is the Miami Dolphins. From handcrafted steaks to delicious fall favorites, Omaha Steaks delivers the world's best steak experience. And now, during their Red Hot Sale event, you can get 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. But here's the kicker, folks. Our listeners get an extra $35 off with promo code NFL Daily at checkout. Heartland quality food delivered right to your door. Every steak is perfectly aged to maximize tenderness and hand cut by master butchers in America's heartland. Grass-fed, grain-finished beef has more marbling for exceptional flavor and is the choice for steakhouses and professional chefs around the world. They also carry mouth-watering burgers, chicken, pork, seafood, and delectable desserts. Get fired up for fall grilling with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide during their Red Hot Sale event. And for an extra $35 off, use promo code NFL Daily at checkout. That's 50% off at omahasteaks.com and an extra $35 off with promo code NFL Daily at checkout. See site for details. Looking more into our guy, John Mateer here. I mentioned he started at Washington State. The numbers, honestly, weren't as buffed up as you would think throwing the football. Did a lot of nice stuff running the football, though, which kind of adds another layer to his production. He is a dual threat quarterback. And when you think of Mateer and how he can succeed at the NFL level, I just simply don't think you can expect him to be as productive at the NFL level as he is at college unless you use him in the running game a ton. Like, he's a little bit undersized, and throwing the football, he does have some inaccurate tendencies, but he's got a dog in him, man, and he will continue to improve. And you can use him a ton as a runner in short yard situations because he's stocky. I say he's 6'1", 225. He will run over you if you are not ready to meet him at the contact point. I like the way he rolls. He's a dog. He's a leader. And as long as he's continuing to improve as a thrower of the football, I think the arm is a plus. I think it's good enough. He can really be a dual threat quarterback at the next level. Now, something to monitor with Mateer as well is that he is going to be out for 3 to 4 weeks here. He actually suffered a hand injury. I don't know if it was against Auburn last Saturday or if it was in a game prior. Coop is telling me it was in that game against Auburn. Either way, he had surgery on his throwing hand, and he's going to miss 3 to 4 weeks, which is a bummer because I would have loved to see him play Texas and that elite defense. Who knows? Maybe he'll return, but I don't think he'll be ready to go for that game. I hope he is, though. But he finished that game against Auburn and won the game with a game-winning drive in the fourth quarter. Just speaks to how much he likes to win and how he might be the opposite of Tua in terms of being able to play through pain and suffer some body injuries and stay on the football field. All right, number 4 right now for me is the Penn State quarterback, Drew Allar, who, by the way, could have been the number 1 pick last year if he came out of Penn State. He was draft eligible last season, but ultimately returned to Penn State. And I'm not saying he would have went number 1 because Cam Ward obviously was very highly thought of and the Titans really liked him. But there were buzz and reports out there that some teams had Drew Allar as their number 1 quarterback if he ultimately left Penn State a year ago. We're talking about a 5-star recruit who was the 3rd overall recruit in 2022. The number 1 quarterback and the number 1 player in the state. It's a elite prospect coming out of high school. He is a true senior, no redshirt years, and he has got a great frame to him. We talked about the frame on Sellers being great as well as Mendoza. Well, he's the same height as Mendoza at 6'5", but he's also about 15 pounds heavier than Mendoza. He's a thick boy who can take some hits. Now, he isn't as mobile as Mendoza. He isn't as mobile as Sellers. He's more of a in-the-pocket type of guy, but he can create out of structure. But the issue with Allar, and the reason why he is number 4 on my list rather than higher, which coming into the year, I think he would have been either a 1 or 2, is that he's not really progressed. Like, he had a really strong first year starting in 2023 for Penn State. Yeah, the completion percentage was down, but 25 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. Like, yeah, I'll take that as a first-year starter. And then in year 2, turned it over a little bit more, made some big-time plays that playoff performance against Boise State was awesome. Played well against Notre Dame as well, despite the loss. Like, I think Allar showed a lot last season. But through the first 3 games of the season this year, doesn't look like he's improved from his true junior season. Like, and that's maybe a concern and why he's number 4 on my list. But he's got the makeup of a franchise quarterback. 6'5", 241. Like, that's a big fella. You want that at quarterback. And he's got the strongest arm in the draft. Like, Sellers has got a cannon. I think Mendoza's arm is good. Mateer's arm is good. They don't compare to Allar's. Allar can yuck that piece 80, 85 yards down the field. And the way he can just absolute throw a bullet. Like, I would be curious to see all of these quarterbacks at the combine, which we obviously likely will, but that drill they do, which really doesn't mean anything, but it's just as fun to see how hard they can throw the football at that wall, and they measure the miles per hour. I think Allar would be number 1. I mean, the dude has a nuke. But the thing I have an issue with is Allar is his mental makeup. I don't think he really processes the field that well. I don't think he makes the best decisions. And he is inaccurate sometimes with some mechanical breakdowns. So, like, the size, the raw talent, it's all there. It's everything you'd want to go number 1 overall. But up here is a question, and then the mechanics are a question. So it's like, okay, do we really want that? It's a big game tomorrow against Oregon. Penn State, top 5 matchup, big-time game. Will they be able to win that? Penn State doesn't win a lot of big games. Will Allar be able to perform in his first big test of his senior season? It's a massive performance on Saturday. If he balls out, he might be shooting up my list. He struggles or looks average? Probably not. Number 5 on my list is Garrett Nussmeier, the LSU quarterback. Now, this is an interesting guy as well. The oldest player on this list. Everybody else was about 22 or 20 years old. Nussmeier's 24 years of age when he gets drafted. He is a redshirt senior who has spent every single year of his career at LSU. Backed up Max Johnson as a rookie. Backed up Jaden Daniels for 2 seasons after that, and then became the starter last year, and obviously the starter this year. He was a 4-star recruit in 2021, and he is 6'1", like Mateer, which isn't short. 6'1" is probably the average starting quarterback height in the NFL, but he is not as physically imposing. Remember, Mateer was 225 and 6'1", Nussmeier 6'1" and 205. And Nussmeier, out of all 5 quarterbacks that we've talked about so far, is the least mobile. Sellers can move. Mateer runs a lot. Mendoza uses legs. Allar does slightly, but Nussmeier does not at all. He actually has negative rushing yards over the past 2 years, which isn't really that big of a deal because sacks count as rushing yards and I just think that's an absolute joke. But Nussmeier is a pure pocket passer. He's had a rough start to the 2025 campaign. Had to go on the road against Clemson in week 1. Played a tough Florida team this past Saturday. So he's had tough matchups. And there is still a lot to like from Nussmeier. But not as good as you might have wanted. Like, there is no question. Out of the 5 quarterbacks we've talked about on today's show, he is the most polished QB. When I'm talking about being able to stand in the pocket, being able to direct an offense, lead an offense, throw people open, throw people in stride, like, that is his game. He's wearing number 18 this year, which is a quarterback number that is, like, heralded at LSU. It's like, if you wear 18, you are one of the greats. You are one of the most trusted players in LSU program history. So he's been there 5 years, second-year starting quarterback. So you like that. You like the leadership. But he lacks the physical traits of the other 4 quarterbacks we've talked about. And he has had some up and down games through the first month of the season. Like a lot of these quarterbacks we're talking about, big test on Saturday. On the road against Ole Miss, a team that does not have a good defense, that projects to be a shootout. Like, if Nussmeier struggles against Ole Miss on Saturday, that's going to speak a lot to me about his progression as an NFL draft QB and how he might have plateaued. Because Nussmeier, like Allar, actually would have been a first-round pick a year ago if he came out of the draft and would have been in consideration for the top pick as well. Like, you heard Todd McShay talk about on his podcast. You saw other NFL draft analysts say that this past QB class was very, very bad. It's why you didn't see the second quarterback go until the second round or late first round with Jackson Dart. Like, yes, Cam Ward went number 1, but that wouldn't have been a foregone conclusion if Nussmeier and Allar came out. Those 3 would have been all grouped probably in the top 15 picks, I think I would have to project. But Nussmeier and Allar have not been that impressive early in this year, and they're getting lapped by Sellers, Mendoza, and in my opinion, John Mateer. And not everyone's going to feel that way, but I would have those 3 ahead of Nussmeier and Allar through the first month of the year. Who is your top 2026 QB target? Dolphins picking in the top 5, and they're going quarterback. Which one do you want it to be? Mine would be Sellers or Mendoza. Mendoza, by the way, I didn't mention this earlier, from Miami, Florida. Probably might sway some opinions there, but let me know your guy down in the comments. Now, some other names I want to monitor. I don't think these guys are first-round prospects right now. There is a couple players that could become first-round guys. Dante Moore, the Oregon quarterback, former highly recruit, went to UCLA, transferred to Oregon. Once again, plays Penn State on the road in a whiteout night game. Penn State's got a really good defense. If Dante Moore balls out, looks the part of an elite quarterback on the road in the biggest game of his career, he's going to start shooting up draft boards. Now, I think it's more likely he ultimately returns to college and is one of the top quarterbacks in next year's draft. But hey, who knows? If his stock rises a ton the rest of the year, there's a chance plans change. Arch Manning, I think, is a foregone conclusion to be back in college next year. Plus, he looks absolutely dog shit. Shout out Coop. So I wouldn't even consider taking him with a first-round pick at all right now until I see that change. Big opportunity over the next month or so, playing Florida, playing Oklahoma, and some other SEC competition. These are other guys to keep your eye on, but they're likely day 2, day 3 picks. Carson Beck, I think, is going to be a 3rd round, 4th round pick. If I had to project it right now, maybe he rises, maybe he doesn't. We'll see. Sawyer Robertson has been pretty productive for Baylor, but once again, would likely project 4th, 5th round. And then Taylor Green is a really intriguing name. Likely a day 3 guy, round 5, round 6, round 7, but more athletic than anybody on this list. As athletic as LaNorris Sellers, if not more. And he's got a pretty good arm too. And he has sneakily been improving. Now, I think when it's all said and done, he's a day 3 pick, but these are 5 names I want to keep an eye on. Final word on today's show. And I'll say it like I did on the open. If the Dolphins ended up with a top 5 pick, I would hope they go with a quarterback. I really do. Because all of the quarterbacks that we talked about today, every single one, we named 10 guys. Every single guy, I think, would benefit from not being the immediate starter. Like, throwing Sellers out there week 1, throwing Allar out there week 1, throwing Mateer or Mendoza out there week 1 could be a little bit dicey. The one that you could probably get away with is Nussmeier because he is so older and he's a veteran and he has a lot of that other stuff up here. So you could get away with that. But the other 4 could use time to sit behind. So, like, I do hope if the Dolphins go top 5, I think they go with Sellers and Mendoza. I would love that. Have them sit behind Tua for the first 10, 12 games of the season. And then start the final 5 or 6. And then you have them be your QB1 in the future, 2027 and beyond. That's my thoughts on the QB situation right now. That'll do it for today's show. Appreciate everybody for tuning in to this episode of Dolphins Today. A little bit of an interesting update here. We'll have more videos out the weekend getting you ready for Monday Night Football, Jets Dolphins Week 4. Subscribe and join us.